Devitt made his NXT debut at the most recent set of tapings this past week. If you don't want to know details about anything that happened, there's a few tiny spoilers here. Not a big deal, but you can skip ahead if you absolutely don't want to know anything that happens. But yeah, Devitt is in, and he has a new name, which we all figured he would. Of course, Kenta is now Hideo Itami, and Devitt is now Finn Balor. Or at least I think that's... Someone who was at the taping said that's how it's pronounced. It could be Balor. I don't know. I'm going with Balor for now. Finn Balor is his name. All I can say is it's better than Fergie. I was legit worried they were going to call him Fergie, which would have been death. So at least it's not Fergie. Finn Balor is not bad. Devitt himself tweeted out, Finn has risen. Everything is done for a reason. Finn McCool meets Balor. I looked up the backstory of the name Balor because I've seen different things being mentioned. I said I want to go and just read up on what the backstory is to the name. And that's one of the things I kind of like about this is it does seem like at least they're giving the guys input. They're taking input from the wrestlers themselves. They're not just coming up with a random name and saying, here, this is your name. You know, Kenta went from Kenta to Hideo Itami. Hideo coming from supposedly an idol or a mentor of his. I don't know if it's the baseball player, Hideo Nomo, or somebody else, because somebody said Kenta's a big baseball fan, so it could very well be Nomo. I don't know. Itami, I believe, means pain in Japanese, so that's kind of cool. So, in Irish mythology, and Devitt is Irish, Balor is the demonic god of death. And this is what it says about Balor. It says, sporting one eye and a single gigantic leg, the evil creature was king of the Fomori, demons who lived in the dark depths of lakes and seas. He could kill somebody just by staring at them with his evil eye. So he kept it closed most of the time so as not to constantly be tripping over dead bodies. That's cool. That's pretty cool. I wish when I watch Raw that I can open my one deadly eye and just blow up the whole freaking show. Wouldn't that be something? The name Finn comes from Finn McCool and has a cool backstory as well. Not Michelle's brother. McCool was a mythical hunter-warrior of Irish mythology. And listen to this, I did my homework here. He spent his younger years growing up in a magical forest surrounded by insane man-eating monsters, being trained in the arts of war and hunting by his face-melting druid priestess aunt and her best friend. That sounds like one cool fucking family right there. One time, he saw a woman crying tears of blood after her kid was killed by some warrior dude. So Finn McCool found him, snapped the guy in half with his bare hands, and stole all of his treasure. And as I'm reading this, you know, the closest thing I realize we have to somebody like this in Irish mythology is Brock Lesnar. And that's it. Everyone else on the roster are a bunch of pansies in comparison. You know, I can picture Brock running around the magical forest with his Jimmy John shorts on, breaking dudes in half and stealing their shit. I can't say the same for John Cena. Anyway, the debut. Let's talk about Devitt's debut here. And this is a spoiler here, so again, skip ahead if you don't want to know anything. He debuted at the tapings Thursday night, coming out as Kenta's surprise partner, and they both destroyed the Ascension. This is for the November 6th episode, so we have to wait 6 weeks to see it. They flashed the name Prince Devitt on the Tron, so they're taking the approach where, okay, you people aren't stupid. You're not totally stupid. You're only a little stupid. You're not totally stupid. You know who these guys are. That's why you're cheering for them. That's why you're excited. That's why you're still doing the ole ole chants, although they never did acknowledge that Sami Zayn was El Generico. But, you know, when Kenta debuted, Regal introduced him as Kenta. And then he said, well, this is my new name. I'm starting over. Devitt comes out, and on the Titantron it says Prince Devitt. And then the name transforms into Finn Balor. Didn't diminish his pop or anything like that. People were just excited to see him. In fact, during the beatdown, if you watch the video that popped up on YouTube, you already have people who are chanting Finn, Finn, Finn. So it's nice to see that people, they get it, they understand it, they're not going to hold it against the wrestlers, it's not their fault. They're going to support them. They're going to cheer for them, their new names, they're going to do whatever they can to support them and just hope that they succeed, and I think that's pretty cool. So he came out as Kenta's partner, they destroyed the Ascension. I thought his new music, really badass. I thought Devitt's music was, I like it a lot. He didn't have the body paint here. I see people, he didn't have the body paint, that sucks, you know, screw you, WWE. It's his first appearance. It's the first time people are laying their eyes on the guy. I don't expect him to be wearing body paint for every match. Did Devitt wear body paint in every single match in New Japan? I mean, maybe he did. I don't think so. I think it was something that he reserved probably for, the rare indie appearances that he made, and maybe for the big shows in New Japan. And even if he did wear body paint all the time, he shouldn't. He shouldn't wear body paint all the time. He should save it for big matches and special occasions. Or maybe when he makes his debut on the main roster, he'll be in body paint. I didn't read anything into this like they're not letting him wear the paint. The first picture he tweeted out, I think, from the Performance Center was a picture of him and Kevin Steen, and you could tell that it was in the Performance Center because in the background there was a poster, a Payback poster with Triple H on it, and Devitt was wearing body paint. He wouldn't be teasing it if they weren't going to let him use it at some point. And being that he's named after a demon, I think the body paint actually will work quite nicely, especially for those big matches, so I look forward to that. So it sounds like a really cool debut. They both went out there, they kicked some ass on the bigger guys. I thought it was funny watching the Raw video that somebody posted, because you can tell as Devitt goes up to pose in one corner and Kenta goes up to pose in another, you can see there's two referees on either side outside the ring trying to be as inconspicuous as possible, obviously getting their cues and their earpieces from the back, and they're telling them, okay, hold the position, and then finally Kenta comes down and the referee is like banging on the mat like, no, go back up. So Kenta goes back up, and then these guys have to stand there posing for this really uncomfortable length of time. It's kind of like those shots on TV when a segment backstage will end and they have a close-up of somebody's face or of the backstage interviewer's face before they fade out, but they leave the camera on them for an uncomfortable length of time. I think just as a rib. I don't know why you would leave it on for so long. Like, I get leaving the camera on somebody for, 5 seconds, let it sink in. I mean, sometimes they let it linger, and they have to maintain their fake smile, and it's just really uncomfortable. So, I don't know what they were doing, I don't know what they were shooting, but these guys had to stand up there doing the same poses for like 2.5 minutes straight. And the people in the crowd are just sitting there like, all right, we get it, you can go down now. It's just fascinating to watch, how the whole process works. So, November 6th, that's the date, mark it down, I look forward to it. Kevin Steen, you're up next, buddy. And I said on Twitter, they say that sometimes the best characters or the best gimmicks are an extension of your real self. And one thing Kevin Steen does not shy away from, in fact, I think it may be in his bio on Twitter, he is a big zoo fanatic. He loves zoos, he loves visiting different zoos and all the animals and all that. And I just thought, wouldn't it be something if they incorporated that into his character? Maybe Kevin Steen debuts with whatever name they give him as like a zookeeper or something like that. We were trying to come up with names for Kevin Steen. I throw that out to you guys. Why don't you try it? Try coming up with a name for Kevin Steen and email it to me or tweet it to me, better yet. And if there are any good ones, maybe I'll read them on the podcast. We're trying to figure out what name they're going to give this guy.